A Cold Night's Death, starring Eli Wallach and Robert Culp, might be the best TV horror movie of all time. They are scientists who are on this isolated mountain with a bunch of monkeys, studying the monkeys and trying to figure out what killed their colleague before they got there and had to take over the experiment that he had abandoned on account of being dead. And there's something messing with the tape recorders and the windows and doors. And it's a character study of two people isolated in this snowy environment where you can't go outside for more than 15 minutes because it's 20 degrees below. And Eli Wallach, right away, he's playing against type. I've usually seen him as a heavy, and here he's this neurotic scientist, and Robert Culp is playing the leading man, strong, silent type, but it's Wallach's movie. And he lays out right away to Robert Culp's character, you're going to be bored here, and I've got to always solve a mystery. And Culp agrees with him. And then they immediately swap roles. And it's Culp trying to solve the mystery and Wallach just spiraling because he doesn't want to admit what's going on and becoming more and more paranoid. And this is eco horror, but you think eco horror of the 70s and you think giant insects or like bears attacking people, but this is more don't experiment on animals and an exaggerated version of this might happen, but also showing how humans are just primates, which we like to forget because we can talk. And the best part about the whole package is the soundtrack by Gil Mallet. It's this crazy synthesizer soundtrack that really got me into synthesizer music. So just imagine yourself being cold. It's August, but we're cold. Yeah. Iced came out in 1988, which was kind of in a down period for the slasher, but it's a super fun example of the genre. Even if it's by the numbers, it seems to be self-aware. It is a revenge prologue, come back 4 years later, pick everyone off type of movie. This guy, Jeff, he's getting bullied at the beginning for his claims of skiing in the Alps on a ski weekend with a bunch of friends. He's not part of the group. One of the girls brought him along as a potential date for this other girl, Trina, who was the final girl. But they didn't hit it off, and she's with this other guy in her hotel room, and Jeff bursts in and finds them not having sex, but arm wrestling. And he says, "You fuckers." And he skis away into the night and falls on some rocks. And someone invites the whole group of friends from the ski weekend to a new ski resort 4 years later and starts killing everybody, including Lisa Loring, who was the original Wednesday Addams, who gets it in a hot tub. And at one point, they're all sitting around the dinner table, and this guy brings up a trip to the drive-in that he had, where he saw a movie that you didn't care anything about. You didn't even look at the screen unless somebody was getting killed or was naked. And that pretty much describes the very movie that we're watching, Iced. The real estate agent who's trying to get them to buy this cabin at the ski resort is also the writer of the film. So I think that they probably had a lot of fun on this movie, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And you can find it online. I believe it's on Shudder or Tubi. If you think you've seen all the 80s movies, all the 80s slasher movies, then maybe you should chill out with Iced. If you like regional horror, the 1978 Screams of a Winter Night is a real treat. It was shot in Natchitoches, Louisiana, which is an old part of Louisiana that has its own legends. And it has a frame story about a bunch of college kids going to a cabin where there's a native legend of a Catawba spirit, that's the wind, that comes and tears everybody apart. And they get there and start telling ghost stories. And so it's kind of an anthology. And at first, the guys tell kind of stupid stories. One is a urban legend about something that happens to kids that are out parking that we've all heard, except that there's a kind of a kaiju, a southern sort of kaiju, because it's got Spanish moss all over it. And then possibly a small person that bites people and ties them to a tree. The second part of the anthology was just a story about a fraternity prank that in itself was a setup for a prank. But then there's a big prank that scares everyone, and then the ladies start telling stories. And first there's one about some kids investigating a cemetery for a witch's grave that end up, one of them ends sort of gruesomely, that I think was maybe cut out of original home video releases of this. And then the fourth story is told by the girl who hated going to this cabin most. Her name is Elaine. Let me back up. It's this terrible cabin that they have to drive hours to get to, past like yokels and just to the middle of nowhere. And then they have to break in, and it's gross, and they need oil lamps. And of course, there's the Catawba lurking, but only the main two characters, John and Cal, even know that. And John's the creepy guy of the group. You know, every ensemble horror has to have people going on vacation, and there's one guy that doesn't have a girlfriend. It's him. Anyway, so I don't know why they would ever go and do that. Just go to a Holiday Inn or like a vacation cabin or whatever. And anyway, you know, this happened like at the same time the Evil Dead was happening somewhere else. So there's lots of woods spirit legends that can get to you if you start telling ghost stories. So the last story was told by Elaine, who I had liked because she was so grumpy, until she basically made this story kind of blaming the victim of an assault. And the best part about the production of this is that all of the actors in the frame segment play different characters in the 4 anthology segments. But anyway, I won't tell you what happens at the end, but it makes me wonder if the Catawba was real, or maybe it was a tulpa that was created by somebody talking about something creepy. You know, they say there's a John in every group that's obsessed with horror stories. And if you don't know who it is, then maybe, oh my God, what's that?